I'm going to be talking about the YouTube channel Financial Audit with Caleb Hammer.
Satisfaction, balance all of your transactions. Debit on the left, credit on the right. Debit
Yawn.
Now,
Boo. I'm bored. Should I be bored or should I be invested in my financial health?
some of you might say, yawn, I am bored. I don't want to talk about finances.
Fools.
But
Who would
what
say
if-
that?
What if I told you finances could be fun?
Yeah, I know this. I'm a cool finance bro. That's the character, finance bro. You ready for this to last for 3 minutes and then never be heard of again? Hey, how you going, man?
There's zero wind up and you immediately flipped. No, what if finances could be talked about in a great fun way that is actually just making fun of people for bad finances?
Ooh, rich people?
No, poor people who are in a lot of debt.
Oh. Well, as a finance bro, I'm totally behind this idea. If you're poor, that's your own fault. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps and get out of that gutter.
So this, I stumbled upon this Caleb Hammer content through the means of TikTok, and what I saw, it just started showing up on my feed. It's sort of like a podcast interview style, content where Caleb, who seems to have some sort of financial background, interviews people about their finances and their debts and tries to figure out ways in which they can, maybe do better with their money.
I resonate with this guy on an emotional level because he's a finance guy who seems like he knows something or has some training maybe. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize finance people had emotions. I guess that's my prejudice.
Only for other finance bros.
Only for other finance.
Think Colt.
Okay, great. So basically each episode, the way it works is he will run through all of the transactions that the interviewee has made
Ouch.
in a past,
Scary.
year, few months, whatever. And he does a little bit of a review and a bit of a critique and really digs deep as to why they're spending money where they are.
And we're going to do that live on air.
Oh no.
That's right. Our first guest is Jett Archer, who's going to tell us everything they've spent in the past week.
Well, let's look at our house shared bank account
No,
that we
let's
both
not.
got. Yeah, there we go. So glad that we flipped immediately away from that. I think your character is actually a person who flips.
I'm gonna finish the episode by doing a cartwheel down the stairs.
So when I first saw content like this, it was, I think, one of the first videos.
I haven't flip-flopped. I said no initially, then I have said yes, then I have said no, and I've stuck to it. Thank you very much. That's my Pauline Hanson.
I didn't flip-flop. I flipped, and then I flopped.
Separately. I
Separately.
flipped and then I flopped.
And then I stuck to
and
it.
then I flipped, okay?
I stuck to it.
So you should
I
be
stuck with the
thankful that
flop.
I didn't flip.
I'm Pauline Hanson, famously flop. Anyways, one of the first.
I'm a racist anyway.
Okay, all right. The first video that I sort of saw was him critiquing this person for how much they were spending on food and subscription services, namely Spotify, because they were in quite a lot of debt and weren't really actively getting themselves out of it. So. He goes through and he's like, well, let me find the things that you're spending money on month to month so that we can put those bits of money instead towards getting you out of this ridiculous debt that you're in. And the woman he was interviewing was, let's say, was receptive to some things, but very unreceptive to others. And that's sort of a pattern that you see through these videos. She was very unreceptive to stopping using Spotify, stopping paying for Spotify Premium, because she was like, well, I use it literally every day. I use it every day, and I'm always listening to music, and I can't live without it. And he's like, well, you won't be able to afford rent if you don't make sacrifices. Take a year off using Spotify. The world isn't going to end. Yeah, okay, you won't be listening to music every day, but maybe you'll get out of debt quicker. Maybe you won't, every single month have hundreds and hundreds of dollars coming out of your account in interest. You know?
But on the other hand, she can't live without Spotify. You really going to starve yourself for capitalism?
Would you remove Spotify if you were financially unstable?
If? Nice one.
All right, do you want to delete our shared Spotify account? But it's been really interesting because I have found it, I don't know, confronting in certain ways because, I pay for some subscription services.
Well, you used to live without Spotify.
I used to live
but
without.
not without a streaming service.
Yeah, well, I had Apple Music because my family had Apple Music. And here's the thing. My family still has Apple Music. And I do pay for Spotify.
Yep.
With you, Reuben. We share.
Yeah. So
Spotify.
basically, it doesn't even count.
And then also I do pay for YouTube Premium, which I think gives me YouTube Music. So technically I have access to 3 different music streaming platforms. So should I really be paying? Could I be saving some money? Yeah.
You are turning to your friend with an eye patch and your Nokia N95 for all your music needs these days. So you could arguably get rid of 2 to 3 of those 3.
But now I have a I have responsibility to you because you're getting a cheaper Spotify deal.
Yeah.
And if I leave, then you have to pay more
That's
for Spotify.
right.
And I couldn't do that to a friend. So let me tell you a bit more about this YouTube channel though. Some of the trends I've noticed with the people. So yeah, I saw it on TikTok and I was like, this is interesting. And I went and watched it on YouTube. And a lot of the trends that I'm seeing is people in America, because that's where Caleb Hammer is. I believe he's in Texas. A lot of people spend a lot of money eating out, getting takeaway food. And he'll bring that up because he'll go through all the transactions and be like Chipotle, McDonald's, service station, all that. And one of his big ethoses, I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm going to use it, is make yourself a sandwich. Eat a sandwich, make yourself a sandwich. It's going to be so much cheaper.
Make yourself a sandwich.
If someone told you, hey, Reuben, don't eat out, make yourself a sandwich, and you were non-receptive, what would you say?
I don't like sandwiches.
Yeah, some people have said that.
It's too much effort to make a sandwich.
Some people have said that.
I don't have the ingredients at home to make a sandwich.
Some people have also said that.
I could buy a sandwich instead.
Probably people have said that. But one of the
I had
things,
a sandwich every day through primary school, and I never wanted to eat another uncooked sandwich ever again in my entire life.
I feel like that is fair.
Yeah.
But
That's what I would say.
One of the things that stood out to me is somebody once
Thanks,
said,
Dad. I loved your sandwiches. By the end, I just couldn't. I just couldn't eat another sandwich.
One thing that one person said was, my issue is, well, yeah, I can make myself a sandwich, but I'll probably be hungry after that sandwich and I'll want more, and then I'll have to buy stuff anyway. Make 2 sandwiches. Simply make 2 sandwiches. So you have people who are eating out a lot. It's also, I feel like America is very much Australia's spending habits, but more.
Magnified. I feel like
magnified.
America is Australia's blank, but magnified.
Sure, I'd agree with that.
Australia's politics, but magnified. Australia's carbon, but magnified. Australia's obesity, but magnified. Australia's Australian accent, but slightly different.
That one doesn't.
Should have stopped after 3.
For
Lists famously good as a set of 3.
So I am finding that a lot of the things are relatable to Australian spending habits. Some of them are like they're spending an insane amount on cars as well. A lot of the people they have crazy car repayments that they've got.
Not on fuel, on cars.
On cars. I put the emphasis on the Z there. I meant plural.
Cars plural.
Sometimes, it's plural, but sometimes it's like, I want a nice car, and everyone has a nice car. So
no, you want a shitty car.
You want a shitty car that'll get you from A to B you don't have to spend much money on fuel.
So both of us who have cars that we quite like, that are quite nice.
But they're also
that are better than we need.
They're also tiny and
quite fuel efficient.
Okay, also famously, if you listen to the previous podcast, mine has some issues.
Mine's fine. I haven't crashed it once. Anyway, tell me about finances.
So I really quite like this. It's very insightful. I do have one major issue though.
Oh.
So this issue I realized when I moved from watching the clips as they came up on my TikTok FYP. And
oh God,
thought, well, maybe I should actually watch, these clips.
In context.
In context.
In the context of all that has come before.
Because
you didn't fall out of a coconut tree yesterday.
Because I'm just seeing snippets, and those snippets are very sometimes aggressive, I would say.
Okay.
It's Caleb being very fed up with whoever the one person
and
or multiple
you're like,
people
is that
are.
the peak of the conflict in the episode, or is it just that the whole time?
Yeah.
How long are these episodes?
The ones on YouTube are about 50 minutes to an hour.
Oh, dear God.
They're quite long. Well, it goes very extensively into things. And
That's long.
it isn't just like, okay, let's look at your money, whatever.
Yeah.
He very much asks questions of the people, finds out who they are, what they're actually needing to be spending their money on, their lifestyle. And yeah, sometimes it's one person, sometimes it's multiple. A lot of the times it's a couple, which is very interesting because you will have one person who is like quite, somewhat financially responsible, and the other person who's just like, I just do whatever the other person tells me to do in terms of budgeting, but also I don't really listen, so I don't do that actually. That
sounds like a man.
Yeah, like more often than not in the episodes that I've seen it has been. But so I went onto the YouTube channel and shock horror, I was in shock and horror. Because with TikTok
Blood shock and horror.
You're just seeing the little, the snippets. But when I was going onto his YouTube channel to pick a video to watch, I was confronted with the thumbnails and the YouTube titles.
No. Finance Bro thumbnails.
Well, so Finance Bros, it's more very much clickbaity in a gross, like the most quote unquote like popular, like most views side of TikTok. Like probably if you went to the YouTube, not TikTok, YouTube. If you went to the YouTube trending page, you know how, have you ever gone onto YouTube and for some reason you're not, okay. Listeners,
not logged in
if
and
you
you
ever
see the
gone
trending
to,
page and you're like, I've never heard of a single one of these people or things or video formats or titles.
Yes, and why do these, like all of the thumbnails look like they're assaulting your eyes and all of the titles look like they're actively, like it feels like an ad on the bottom of a sketchy
I'm gonna do
website.
it right now while you talk.
You can do that. And Caleb hammers like thumbnails and titles are like that. Let me read out a few for you. The most recent video from 10 hours ago has Caleb's face very much enlarged and the other person that he's interviewing's face enlarged, and devil horns have been photoshopped onto her head. And then it says bitch with the eye, like what's that star? The star one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asterisks.
Asterisized on the in where the eye is. And so that's the thumbnail, and then the title is "Disgusting Degenerate Steals $200,000 from Mum."
Whoa.
Yeah. Another one, "Nasty Karen Hates Me."
Is he really mean in the videos?
Is he mean in the videos? He gets worked up and he's not mean,
Okay.
but he's also like, he does check himself when he's being excessively, he's like, no, I am getting worked up, but often it is.
You think that's a character?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, it's put on for some entertainment, but it also is not, like, unrealistic for the
Are the guests really frustrating?
They can be. They can be very frustrating. Some of the other ones we have here, Unhinged Twink nearly makes me walk out. Dumb Blonde lives in delusion. She hates her husband but can't escape. So it does actually get into like the personal, because finances permeate through all parts of life. So it really does get into the personal a lot. Wife forced to deal with cuck husband. Like it's really, so that was really confronting to go to the YouTube channel and see that, because that is not something that I ever would engage with. Despite me finding the videos like entertaining and helpful in some regards.
What do you think of the chances that there's someone else out there doing this in a more wholesome way with fewer views?
Probably possible. I mean, the benefit of this is
the internet's a big place.
It's new people every time.
Yeah.
So someone with less stature would probably find it harder to get as many people. However, I would also say that these are really entertaining. They're entertaining in like a reality show with terrible people who's entertaining.
Is it giving Most Upsetting Guessing Game vibes?
No.
Okay.
No, it's more like it's.
That's what I'm picturing.
It's not frustrating.
Okay.
It's just like you're obviously an idiot who's making bad financial decisions, and why can't you just not do that, And
I say from my couch as I devour a burger from Uber Eats. Can I see our tourist takeaway food? Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm going to be late for... Oh, maybe I'll just drive. It's fine. Sorry, that's not you. I don't even know if it's me.
But it's just somewhat.
It's just a caricature
it's a possibility
of
who either of us could be.
Oh, we've all been that person before.
So while watching these, I also
You know you have.
I recognize that these people their spending habits, their lifestyles are a reflection of the systems in which they live.
Right. Gotta have a car in America.
Yeah, gotta have a car in America. There's pressure to takeaway is so accessible. There's so much of it, and it's marketed to you as you should eat this. Oh, you don't have time to go grocery shopping or don't want to. Just buy food from us. You should have a bigger, better car because your friend has a bigger, better car, So I watch them from that lens and I try and find the little bits that are helpful to me. But I also watch it. It's kind of, okay, I rarely use this word, this phrase.
Uh-oh.
I think it's my guilty pleasure. I think it honestly is my guilty pleasure a bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Obviously with all of these.
It's okay, I have a guilty YouTube pleasure too. Is
it trains?
Yeah, it's extremely in-depth, informed infrastructure videos about Melbourne's politics and building conditions.
I've been watching so many of those. We're talking about traffic and finances. That's what this podcast is all about.
Hey, we deliver what we promise, unlike some.
Yeah.
That's that greatest of jokes / political manifestos, which could mean anything. Am I talking about the Liberal federal government? Yeah. Am I talking about the state Labor government? Yeah.
Are you talking about the Greens?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the National?
I'm not talking about Pauline Hanson.
Okay.
Because listen here, she didn't flip-flop. Okay, she flipped, and then
she was racist.
And then she said, you're lucky I didn't flip, and also I'm a racist.
Quote Pauline Hanson,
2025. Just you
32.
Yeah, probably. It feels like she's been around since about 1632.
I do really feel conflicted watching these.
I feel that. I see that in your face. I feel that in your voice.
And
I feel that in your toe. Wait, stop touching my toe!
It does.
Hey,
it just looks
stop
like
looking at it.
Okay.
But the knife. The knife's on the floor. I like that I'm currently in reach of 3 knives, and you're currently in reach of 1 knife. I feel like
you gotta
that's
reach
good
them
for
with
my
your
odds.
feet.
Yeah, I do.
I've also got to reach mine with my feet. Stop distracting me from talking about finances.
Sorry,
I've got to
you
get the
feel
people that they
conflicted.
want. Yeah, but it's I don't know.
Are you learning strategies, or are you just learning to look at your own decisions and be like, oh, bad,
Here's the
bad,
other-
and I feel bad?
I wasn't seeking it out to learn strategies.
Okay.
It just appeared on my For You page because TikTok just knew what I wanted at that time, I guess. So, and I have had periods of time in the past where I've been looking for financial strategy. I'm very fiscally, I don't know what the word is. I don't spend a whole
The
lot
word
of
conservative
money.
comes out of your mouth, I'm going to smack you.
Is it because I'm eating a burger while doing this podcast right now?
No, it's because Pauline Hanson's standing on your shoulder.
Leave her alone.
All right.
She's a devil on my shoulder. I got to have a devil to match the angel.
Who's the angel?
Bob Carter.
But they're both only saying one phrase on repeat. He's doing 1,000 Blossoms Bloom
Yeah.
and she's doing flip-flop.
And that's the only bit that I get. It's just those words. 1,000 Blossom Blooms, that sounds like a thing an angel would say.
Boy, you're going to hate it when you hear the rest of that sentence.
Okay, so I will say that while Caleb does go aggressively at the people, he has a line,
Okay.
There are times when people are like, well...
What's the line? Make yourself a sandwich?
Funny. The line is, if somebody's spending money on therapy sessions, he's like, yeah, it's hard to get good therapy. You got to find someone who actually works with you. Mental health is very important.
Good, yes.
I understand that is a thing.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Health, yeah.
Yeah, health. There's a really interesting episode where he interviews a trans woman. Let me try and find it quickly. There's a video called "Willing to Go Bankrupt for Transition," and so this is the thumbnail is
Feeling
awful.
some conflict from over here.
The title is bad. I am 90% certain he does get approval of all of the people that he interviews for the thumbnails and the titles. And I feel like you could, if you weren't doing that, that would be such a exploitation of people.
It's okay, there's only a 10% chance of exploitation involved in the making of this t-shirt. It's fine.
But that one's really interesting because in that one, we're talking about someone who, isn't fully financially responsible, but is also is a trans woman who has gotten
Gender-affirming surgery?
gender-affirming surgery. Yep, that's what I was looking for. And he critiques that in a way because it's a lot of money.
Sure.
And she didn't have the money to spend on it. And he says
It's like a lot of money
it's a lot of
for
money.
those playing along at home.
Yeah. And so he was like, look, I understand that that's a thing that you want or need, but is that a thing that is right for right now? You know, while you are in debt, while you cannot be like live, I don't know, debt free, you know, just making sure that it doesn't screw your life over so you become homeless or screw over things. A big thing that he has is like people who have kids. He's like, you are not just fucking up your own life. You are screwing over your kids' lives because when you are old and you have no retirement money, they will be forced to take care of you. You're putting your financial terribleness onto your kids because they are the ones who will have responsibility for you when you're old. And don't do that. You know, you need to be setting aside money.
Yeah, this is fascinating. It goes to the question of value, right? Like the value of not being in debt, the value of being financially comfortable and having a roof over your head and being able to buy food is very valuable. And for different people, the like feeling of like not feeling like dysmorphia, not feeling awful in your body and not feeling like your body doesn't represent who you are as a person is going to be, for some it will feel really urgent and really valuable and for others less so. And it's like, I guess the ratio between those two is going to determine whether or not that's the right choice for that time or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I think from what I can remember, the conclusion that he sort of lands on there, because also it is a thing that has happened in the past. It's not like this was a thing that she was considering for the future. This has already happened.
Yeah.
He was like, I want you to think about whether you should have done that. Also, he was like, I haven't had that lived experience, so I can't tell like how urgent that is. But also gender affirming surgery doesn't just happen to trans people. Like it is people who get breast augmentation or even like Botox and things like that, or it could, you know, like there are so many body alterations that come under gender affirming that don't just apply to trans people. So I think also taking it from that perspective of, you know, is this something that you need to augment your body for right now? Yeah, that one was like, that one was really interesting because it brought me I don't know, I've been very much like, yeah, do whatever you want to feel good in your body, but also like make sure that, you know, if you're in a bad mental health state and that will actively, you know, help you presenting how you want to, how you identify, however you want to present, that, you know, that changes how people interact with you, you know, that literally changes your world. So that can massively change your mental health. However, also like spending thousands and thousands of dollars, maybe money you don't have, will also dramatically affect your mental health. So which, you know, it's something on an individual basis you've really got to tackle, and which I think that this is actually quite valuable with, because it is not talking generalities. It is talking to people's specific circumstances. Yeah.
Do you have an equivalent? Do you have a thing where you're like, that was a lot of money, or like, that would be a lot of money to do, but I'm considering it because it's important to me or something? Oh shit, I don't have an answer to that question. Never ask a question if you're not prepared to answer it yourself.
I think maybe my game. Maybe wrong answers only, because that is the thing that when I put it out, that was money that I had set aside. So that was actually kind of responsible in the way of like I had set that money aside for traveling or something. You know, I was just saving. I was saving through the pandemic. And then I spent basically all of it to produce a card game and send it you know, there was risk involved because I didn't have a distributor lined up. I didn't have stores to sell to, but I had enough. I had enough courage in myself, and I weighed up with the risk, and I thought it was okay. Now that I've sold most of those and I need to do a second run, it's like
same again,
but I'm in a little bit of a worse financial position maybe.
Okay, interesting.
Or while also doing a second run, I'm paying for more games. So it's tougher, and that's something that's definitely impacted me quite a lot. And, you know, I'm not in as comfortable as a position that I was. But I've also recognized, talking about like historically how I've spent money, when I did have money saved away, I would also not necessarily spend it because I have I learned a thing from another financial YouTuber, which came from a time in which I was really exploring minimalism in my life. The YouTuber is Matt Diavella. I don't know if he's really been making many videos lately, but talks about minimalism, talks about financial responsibility and things. But one of the things that he talks about is spend the money on the things you care about. And on the things you don't care about, spend as little as possible.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So for me, it's like technology and stuff that I used to create. That I will spend money on. When I bought my desktop Mac, I was like, okay, I will actually spec this out. I will make sure that it can do all the things that I need it to do and last a long time because I want to spend money and have this last. I don't want to be spending money on it every few years, you know? But then I would very rarely eat out. I would very rarely go out. Like I would on all the things that like weren't as important to what I enjoyed as a person. I enjoyed like going out, but like eating out and things like that, or like, I don't know, traveling and things at that particular time, I didn't have a lot of an urge to do that. It wasn't a core thing for me. So for that, I, spent no money on it. On going to the movies or going to see performances, I would spend very little money on because spending a little money here and there does add up.
Yeah.
So it's really about, so I learned from that like how to weight my spending habits. So yeah, when I did have money in savings before I, put it all into wrong answers only, I was still like, oh, I don't want to spend, on these things that don't matter as much to me. Yeah. What are your spending habits like?
Yeah, I don't know if I've thought about this in as much detail as maybe you have. I mean, like, there's definitely, I'm privileged to have been born into, like, middle-class wealth and, like, a white male body that doesn't currently have chronic illness or, like, mental health issues that need treatment. So, like, I guess I have fewer expenses than a lot of people do. And I've always just kind of almost like worked to my spending rather than spent to my income. Does that make any sense as a distinction?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah, like this is has been maybe less true recently, but historically I've always said like, well, I really value not worrying about what I can spend on and not making those choices. So I will work more in order to have the funds available to do those things. A little more recently, I've been like, yeah, but that's still making a choice between like working or spending that time elsewhere. But there's maybe a part of me that's, and I totally get that not everyone can do that, but I'm in a position where if I want more hours, I can usually ask for them and get them. So, yeah, but then, yeah, there's definitely been times, I mean, everything's getting more expensive, inflation, rent, cost of living, etc. So I've definitely been looking through my bank account, spending a bit more recently, been going like, ooh, that's a lot of that. Or like, yeah, it's one thing to not like want to make tough decisions, but it's another thing to like, you can make an easy decision, actually. You can make a sandwich, things like that. So, yeah, maybe that's something.
Yeah, I think it definitely is, and I think it's definitely depending on your capabilities and where your values lie. Like, in the position of I know what I want to do, and I will just simply work to get there.
Yeah.
I think I've come from the opposite of like, I would rather work less so I spend time.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I also have creative work that I do. You also have creative work that you do. But I very much try and keep those kind of equal. So I minimize some professional work that I do so I can do some of my own work, and then I will because that is not necessarily money heavy but is more time heavy, and for that I will have to then minimize my spending in a third column of
miscellaneous crap. I in 2022, which was my last year of studying, so it's year 12 again in terms of like, oh no, now I have to really think about what I want to do with my life. I kind of separated making money from creative practice. And sometimes there's some money in a project that you take on, but there's fewer of those in my life than there are in yours, maybe just because of the industries we're in or because I steer away from the ones that do offer money.
When do we hear about what you finished it is?
Super helpful for me at that time and still to be like, this work, which is work but is not paid labor, thrives when it's not attached to, when it's not like I have to do this generative act of art making in order to pay the rent. When it's like, no, I go and clock in over here to do that, and then I go over here, and it's a different kind of free or open or something.
They're completely separate things.
Yeah. Well, as we learned from Instagram, it's impossible to have anything completely separate. But yes, it's that same setting of intention, maybe, which I think both are totally valid ways of going about it. Yeah.
Mine's stressful. Yours might be stressful as well. I'm just relaying to you that mine's stressful.
Mine takes a lot of time because if you don't overlap the making money and the making art, there's not a lot of the miscellaneous crap.
Yeah.
Not miscellaneous spending crap, but miscellaneous spending time crap. It's a very small third column. Is this making any sense?
It's making sense to me.
Okay,
I
great.
really hope it's been making sense to listeners.
When have we ever made sense to listeners?
That's a really good point.
That's our third column.
So yeah, I guess would I recommend Caleb Hammer's channel? If you're really into I don't know, that greasy side of YouTube, yeah. If you're into that sort of, I don't know, reality TV, haha, look at these terrible people in there, absolute idiots. Yes. For finances, I think it's somewhat valuable if you're looking for it. Like,
just close your eyes. Hey Siri, take me to this and skip the first 5 seconds.
Yeah. Genuinely, I'm like, it does really put me off. So, I don't know, maybe that's meant that I have
Would you leave a
with it.
YouTube comment?
Would I leave it? I think I've left a YouTube comment maybe like once or twice in my life, like 10 years ago. Like,
Oh, wow.
I really rarely do that. So, but maybe I'll write in.
Right into Caleb Hammer.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, can you just create a second YouTube channel where the thumbnail's not absolutely idiotic and the title is regular so they can feel better about watching these?
Just make it a white square with some barely legible text on it.
Great. Out of Vista. Is that the joke?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Just make the title the number of minutes that the episode is.
Good. I feel conflicted about this one. Maybe either just follow him on TikTok and get the clips, or I don't know, experience it for yourself. Go to the YouTube channel. Be like, if you are interested, if you're like, well, this might actually be valuable, or I might find some entertainment in this. Check it out for yourself. Make your own judgment. I don't know. It's weird bringing a thing to the podcast that I feel like a little icky about.
Really? I brought Wonka.
But that's something you can feel. But like I brought Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, right. It's different to like deliberately hate on a thing and be like, hey, is this a recommendation?
Yeah, it's because it's, I guess, yeah, like I said, a guilty pleasure. Yeah. Speaking of taking pleasure in things, what have you...
Okay. Bit of a leading question.
Sorry, what did I say before? Let me gobble your berries.
Yep.
That.